Hello, and a very warm welcome back to Grow English Mastery. My name is Scarlett, and it's a pleasure to have you with me again as we continue to explore how real-world events can be the perfect textbook for learning English. I want to start with a question. Have you ever seen two friends who were once incredibly close, who helped each other and supported each other, suddenly become rivals? It's a sad and often dramatic situation. Today, we are going to look at a story just like that, but on a global scale. We're going to examine what many are calling a corporate divorce between two of the biggest names in technology, the software giant Microsoft and the AI superstar OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT. Their story is a fascinating drama of alliance, power, money, and betrayal. It's a perfect case study for learning advanced business English and understanding the dynamics of high-stakes negotiation. So, what are our learning goals for today's lesson? First, we will learn 10 crucial vocabulary words and phrases related to business, negotiation, and conflict. These are terms you will encounter frequently in the business world. Second, we will tackle a very important grammar point that often confuses learners: the difference between the past simple and the present perfect tenses. Understanding this is key to telling stories that connect the past to the present. Finally, I will guide you through a new set of practical exercises to sharpen all 4 of your core English skills. By the end of this lesson, you will not only understand the complex conflict between Microsoft and OpenAI, but you will also be able to discuss business situations with more confidence and precision. Are you ready to dive into the anatomy of this corporate divorce? Let's get started. Let's begin by setting the stage. To understand why this conflict is so dramatic, we need to go back in time to November 2023. At that time, Microsoft and OpenAI were the closest of allies. Their partnership was seen as the most powerful force in the AI industry. Then, a crisis happened. The board of directors at OpenAI suddenly fired its CEO, Sam Altman, in a move that shocked the tech world. It was like a coup, a sudden seizure of power. During this crisis, Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella, played a crucial role. He publicly and strongly supported Sam Altman. Microsoft was OpenAI's biggest investor, having already poured billions of dollars into the company. Nadella made it clear that Microsoft stood with Altman. He even threatened to hire Altman and all of his employees if the board did not bring him back. This pressure was decisive. In the end, Sam Altman returned as the CEO of OpenAI, his position stronger than ever, thanks in large part to his powerful ally, Microsoft. At that time, their alliance seemed unbreakable. They were texting each other 5 or 6 times a day. So, what went wrong? How did these close allies become adversaries who are now on the brink of a total split? The simple answer is, the conflict began when it was time to share the rewards of their success. The cracks in their alliance started to show when they began to discuss the future, specifically money and control. The core of the disagreement is OpenAI's plan to change its structure. OpenAI started as a non-profit organization, but now it wants to become a for-profit company. This change is essential for them to raise more money from new investors and eventually have an IPO, or initial public offering, which is when a private company first sells its shares of stock to the public. However, this transition requires Microsoft's approval, and Microsoft is not happy with OpenAI's proposals. The negotiations have focused on two main points: how much of the new for-profit company Microsoft will own, and how their current deal for sharing revenue will change. Let's talk about ownership, or the equity stake. After investing over $13 billion, Microsoft wants a significant equity stake in the new company. They have asked for a minimum of 20% and a maximum of 49%. This seems fair to them, considering their massive investment. However, OpenAI wants to give Microsoft a smaller stake to maintain more control for itself and prepare for its future IPO. Then there is the issue of the current contract. The deal they signed in 2019 is extremely good for Microsoft. It gives Microsoft the exclusive right to distribute OpenAI's AI services through its Azure cloud platform, and it receives 20% of the revenue. Microsoft is perfectly happy to keep this deal exactly as it is until the year 2030. But for OpenAI, this is a major problem. This existing deal blocks their path to an IPO and to raising money from new investors. The two sides have reached a stalemate, a situation where no progress can be made. The conflict has escalated dramatically. The close relationship has broken down. They no longer text multiple times a day. Now they mainly speak in scheduled weekly phone calls. OpenAI has threatened to sue Microsoft for violating competition laws. In response, Microsoft has started preparing for a future without OpenAI. They secretly hired Mustafa Suleyman, a co-founder of OpenAI's rival DeepMind, to build their own competing AI model. The situation has become a classic power struggle. The question is, who needs who more? OpenAI is under immense pressure. They need Microsoft's approval to complete their transition to a for-profit company before the end of the year. If they fail, they could lose a $10 billion investment from another major investor, SoftBank. They also depend on Microsoft for the enormous computing power needed to run ChatGPT and train new models. On the other hand, Microsoft seems to have the upper hand, or the leverage. Their existing contract is strong. They have also started to diversify, meaning they are not putting all of their eggs in one basket. They are developing their own AI, and have even started offering models from other companies, like xAI's Grok, to their cloud customers. They are sending a clear message: we don't depend on you completely. This divorce, if it happens, will be a monumental event, reshaping the entire landscape of the artificial intelligence industry. Now, let's learn some essential vocabulary for discussing this corporate conflict. These words and phrases will make you sound like a business news analyst. Our first word is alliance. An alliance is a union or partnership between people, groups, or companies for a shared benefit. An ally is a member of that alliance. Microsoft and OpenAI once had a powerful alliance to dominate the AI industry. The two countries formed a military alliance for mutual protection. In business, it's important to choose your allies carefully. Our second word is negotiations. Negotiations are formal discussions between people who have different aims or intentions, especially in business or politics, in which they try to reach an agreement. The negotiations between Microsoft and OpenAI have reached a stalemate. The company is in negotiations with the workers' union over pay. Successful negotiations require compromise from both sides. Our third word is a stalemate. A stalemate is a situation in a conflict or a discussion in which neither side can win or make any progress. The talks ended in a stalemate, with neither party willing to change its position. The chess game was a stalemate, so it was a draw. To break the stalemate, a third party was brought in to mediate. Our fourth word is leverage. We learned this word before, but it's so important here. Leverage is the power to influence people and get the results you want. Microsoft has significant leverage in the negotiations because of the existing contract. Owning the only hotel in town gives you a lot of leverage with tourists. She used her job offer from another company as leverage to get a higher salary. Our fifth phrase is at odds. If two people or groups are at odds, they are in disagreement. The two CEOs are now at odds over the future strategy of the company. The committee members were at odds over the new budget. His actions are completely at odds with his words. Our sixth phrase is equity stake. An equity stake is the percentage of a company that a person or another company owns, usually in the form of shares. Microsoft is demanding a large equity stake in the new for-profit OpenAI. He sold his 10% equity stake in the startup for $1 million. The investors received an equity stake in exchange for their funding. Our seventh word is diversify. To diversify means to start producing a wider range of products or services in order to be more successful or reduce risk. Microsoft is trying to diversify its AI offerings beyond just OpenAI's technology. The farmer decided to diversify her crops to protect against bad weather. It is generally a good idea to diversify your investments. Our eighth word is escalate. To escalate means to become or to make something greater, more serious, or more intense. The disagreement has escalated from a private dispute to a public conflict. The protest quickly escalated into a riot. They tried to de-escalate the situation before it got out of control. Our ninth abbreviation is IPO. IPO stands for Initial Public Offering. It is the very first time that the stock of a private company is offered to the public on the stock market. OpenAI's main goal is to have a successful IPO to raise capital. The tech company's IPO was one of the biggest of the year. Going through an IPO is a long and complicated process. And our 10th phrase is on the brink of. If you are on the brink of something, you are very close to a new, and usually bad or exciting, situation. The alliance between the two companies is on the brink of collapse. The scientists are on the brink of a major discovery. The country was on the brink of war. Excellent. Alliance, negotiations, stalemate, leverage, at odds, equity stake, diversify, escalate, IPO, and on the brink of. This is the language of high-stakes business. To tell the story of this broken alliance accurately, we need the right grammar. The relationship started in the past, but the conflict and its results are happening now. This is the perfect situation to master the difference between the past simple and the present perfect tenses. We use the past simple to talk about actions that started and finished at a specific time in the past. We often use time words like yesterday, last year, or in 2023. Example: Microsoft helped Sam Altman in November 2023. The action is finished. Example: the two CEOs signed a contract in 2019. Finished action in the past. Example: OpenAI's board fired Sam Altman. Finished action. We use the present perfect, have, has plus past participle, for a few key situations. For an action that started in the past and continues to the present. Example: Microsoft has been a major investor for several years. They still are. For a past action that has a result or effect in the present, the exact time is not important. Example: the relationship has broken down. The result is that they are not allies now. Example: Microsoft has invested over $13 billion. The result is that they want a large equity stake now. Example: the conflict has escalated. The result is the current tense situation. Let's also look at some useful phrases for talking about negotiations and conflict, which you can use as a toolkit. To state a position, Microsoft's position is that the current contract should remain. To make a demand, OpenAI demands a smaller equity stake for Microsoft. To make a threat, OpenAI has threatened to sue its partner. To express disagreement, the two sides are at odds over the company's future. Let's practice this grammar with more examples from our story. This will make the difference very clear. Look at this sentence. In 2023, Microsoft supported Altman, past simple. Since then, the two companies have become adversaries, present perfect. The first part is a specific, finished event in the past. The second part describes a change that started in the past and is true now. Another example: OpenAI started as a non-profit, past simple, but now it has decided to become a for-profit company, present perfect, because the decision affects the present situation. Let's try creating a narrative. Sam Altman and Satya Nadella used to text each other every day. Past simple, a past habit. But recently, their communication has become more formal. Present perfect, a recent change with a present result. Microsoft hired a new AI expert last year. Past simple, finished action. This move has created more tension between the two companies. Present perfect, a past action with a current result. Can you feel the storytelling power of these two tenses working together? One sets the past scene, and the other connects it to what is happening now. Now, it's time to put your skills into action. Let's talk about how you can practice your listening, speaking, reading, and writing using the story of this corporate divorce. First, listening. Listen to this lesson again. The first time, just follow the dramatic story. The second time, be a grammar detective. Every time you hear a verb, ask yourself, is this past simple or present perfect? Why did Scarlett use that tense? This active listening will train your ear to hear the difference automatically. Second, speaking. It's time to role-play a negotiation. Imagine you are a lawyer for Microsoft, and your friend is a lawyer for OpenAI. Have a short meeting. Use the negotiation phrases we learned. The OpenAI lawyer could say, "Our position is that we need to change this contract. We demand a new revenue-sharing model." The Microsoft lawyer could reply, "We are not willing to change the current deal. We have leverage, and we are prepared to wait. This negotiation has reached a stalemate." This practice is fantastic for building your confidence in using business English. Third, reading. Go online and find a news article about this topic. Search for Microsoft OpenAI conflict on a business news website like the Wall Street Journal, the Financial Times, or Bloomberg. Many articles have a paywall, but you can often read one or two for free. Your goal is to find 3 facts you didn't know before. Try to identify sentences that use the past simple and the present perfect. Finally, writing. I have a great writing task for you. Imagine you are Sam Altman. Write a short private email to a trusted colleague summarizing the situation with Microsoft. Tell them what happened in the past and how the situation has changed. Try to use the past simple and present perfect correctly. For example, as you know, Satya was a great ally during the coup last year. But lately, things have become very difficult. We have reached a stalemate in our negotiations, and I have started looking for other partners. This exercise forces you to think from a specific perspective and to use the grammar we've learned in a natural context. By engaging with this topic through all 4 skills, you are doing more than just learning. You are developing a deep, practical understanding of the language. As we reach the end of our lesson, I want to leave you with one final thought. The story of Microsoft and OpenAI is a story of a broken partnership. It broke down because their visions for the future became different, their communication failed, and they lost trust in each other. This is a powerful lesson about any kind of partnership, including the most important one you have on your learning journey, the partnership with yourself. To succeed in learning English, you must be a good partner to your own goals. This requires a shared vision. Be clear about what you want to achieve. Do you want to pass an exam? Do you want to have confident conversations? Your vision must be clear. It requires good communication. Be honest with yourself. What are your strengths? Where do you need to improve? Listen to your own needs as a learner. And it requires trust. Trust the process. Trust that your daily efforts, even the small ones, are building towards something great. Don't let your internal team fall into disagreement. Don't let your desire to learn be at odds with your actions. Forge a strong, unbreakable alliance with your own goals. We have navigated a very complex business story today. Let's quickly summarize the key takeaways. First, we dissected the corporate divorce between Microsoft and OpenAI, understanding the journey from close allies to bitter rivals. Second, we armed ourselves with 10 essential business vocabulary terms, including alliance, negotiations, stalemate, equity stake, and on the brink of. Third, we clarified one of English grammar's most confusing points: the difference between the past simple for finished past actions and the present perfect for actions with a present result. And finally, we drew an inspiring lesson from this broken partnership, reminding ourselves of the importance of building a strong, unified alliance with our own learning goals. You have done incredible work today. Tackling complex, real-world topics like this is how you make the leap from being an intermediate learner to an advanced, confident English speaker. I am truly proud of your commitment. Thank you for spending your time with me at Grow English Mastery. Your participation is what makes our community so special. If you enjoyed this lesson, please let me know in the comments. Try writing a sentence using the present perfect to describe something you have done this week. And if you feel this lesson has been helpful, please support our channel with a thumbs up, share it with your friends and fellow learners, and be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure in learning. Thank you once again for being here. Keep building that strong internal partnership. I'm Scarlett, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Goodbye for now.